Burc. She's a political scientist in Bonn whose research focuses on Turkey and nationalism. Thanks for being with us this evening. If this referendum passes, will Turkey still be a democracy?
Clearly, no. This referendum is very crucial in the possible transition of a very weak democracy, however, a democracy into a dictatorship and into a regime that is being ruled by one man.
You say it would be a dictatorship, and yet this referendum it's a vote. If people vote for it, isn't it then democracy?
Well, this referendum is being held under a very anti-democratic situation. Just bear in mind that even the opposition leaders, like the third biggest party in Turkey, which is called the People's Democratic Party, HDP, their leaders are currently, while we're speaking here, behind bars. They are being prosecuted under terrorism allegations. So we see that this referendum for a constitution amendment is very, very anti-democratic in terms of, very basic questions. Is it being is it happening under democratic circumstances or not? There is no public debate about the content, about the actual content of the new constitutional amendments. And we see that it is rather, more or less, that the debate is rather circulating around, is it a yes or no vote for the person of Erdogan or not?
Let's have a little public discussion. What specifically would this referendum change about the way government works in Turkey?
So the no voters and the critics of that referendum or the constitutional amendment say that the division of powers is at risk. So we see that in this new constitution, or the constitutional amendments, would lead to a president that is strengthened in its power to intervene into the legislature, is very strengthened in the executive, and also has very direct and indirect influences into the judiciary, being, for instance, appointing judges at the Constitutional Court, or, for instance, changes like appointing, without a democratic mandate, this is really important, appointing ministers. Also, the then president, would have the right to veto the laws passed by the parliament, and the parliament needs, in that new constitution, would need an overwhelming majority in order to stop the veto. And looking at the power structures in the parliament right now, we see that this overwhelming majority is not going to happen.
Okay.
So we see that the divisions of powers are at risk, yes.
Okay, the divisions of power are at risk, you say. And yet, what is it that appeals to some Turks about this idea of expanding Erdogan's power? Clearly, some people are voting for this.
Yes. This goes back to a very, very clear strategy that Erdogan is putting forward. His strategy is creating an enemy of the nation, yeah? And so this whole narrative that is being put forward right now is as if a yes voter, if you say yes to the referendum, then you are defending the so-called nation. This is the whole narrative that is being created right now around this referendum. So especially the people here in Germany, the Turkish citizens in Germany, who have been, feeling quite marginalized by the German society, feel very supported by a very strong president who is strengthening the idea of a very strong Turkish nation, and there is a lot of nationalism happening, and there is a lot of nationalist narrative that is helping the yes voters to manifest their support for Erdogan.
Okay, Rosa Burc, she's a political scientist in Bonn whose research includes Turkey and nationalism. Thanks for being with us on The Day.
Thank you.